Welcome to a short reflection by Sebastian Mahfoud on Canto 33 of Dante's Purgatorio. We enter our final canto of the Purgatorio to Beatrice in mourning with the seven virtues about the crucifixion of the Church, culminating in Beatrice's repetition of John 16:16. A little while and ye shall not see me, and again a little while and ye shall see me. This is divine revelation speaking in terms of the resurrection, and as the procession moves on toward Unoi, Beatrice draws Dante close to her, that is, divine love draws us close, and asks him for his questions. Dante responds that she already knows all of them, so it would be redundant for him to speak them. Beatrice explains that Dante's active participation is important in the ongoing relationship between them, faith seeking understanding, to put it in St. Anselm's terms. She then utters a prophecy, which we might take to mean the Babylonian captivity, since it hadn't happened yet in Easter of 1300, but which is so obscure that Dante can't get his intellect around it. Her explanation for why Dante cannot comprehend her is that he spent too much time, to paraphrase Ciardi, in the over-exaltation of philosophy as an end, in and of itself, rather than as a path to God. She had, after all, sent Virgil, Ciardi notes, so the problem wasn't that he followed reason, but that his worldliness, note the lion, the leopard, and the she-wolf who had blocked his path in the Inferno's first canto, had caused a stumbling block between him and his understanding of what human reason is for. Dante replies that he has no recollection of ever having been estranged from Beatrice. Beatrice points out that his lack of memory is proof of the fact, for the waters of Lethe wash away all memory of sin, and if this memory too was washed away, then his estrangement from her was indeed sinful. At this point Beatrice promises to speak at a level Dante can understand, and it happens at the same time that the procession has reached its destination. They are on the banks of Unoi, right next to its source, for there is one spring that branches off into two, forming Lethe on one side and Unoi on the other. Dante is amazed by this, and he asks what it could mean, a question that prompts Matilda to respond. This, and much more, I have this very day explained to him, and Lethe certainly could not have washed that memory away. Beatrice excuses Dante's forgetfulness, for it has been quite a day for him between his first conversation with Matilda and now. Given leave by Beatrice to lead Dante to the second river, Matilda calls for him and for Statius, who's still in tow, but whom we've easily lost sight of in the midst of all these other things that have been happening, to drink from the river and to begin their new life in God. With this, Dante ends the canto, directly addressing the reader with the fact that he has filled all of the pages planned for this, his second canticle. He comes back from the holiest of waters, having had every good within him magnified, so that he's remade, reborn, perfect, pure, and ready for the stars. It is here that Dante leaves us, as he steps away from the river Unoi, and prepares to enter the light of God's kingdom. Man's complete and total readiness to be in the presence of God is not the start of salvation, but the culmination of a process that leads to it. God only had one word to say, and he said it in Jesus Christ. But it takes a while for man to unpack the full meaning of divine revelation. One example of this is given by Dominican Father Benedict Ashley, who explains in his biblical morality lectures that St. Paul's desire for Philemon to treat his slave Onesimus, who is also a Christian, as a brother, means that he can no longer treat him as a slave. It took over 1800 years for us to understand the full meaning of that inspired text, yet we had it there in front of us the whole time. If we are a pilgrim church whose faith seeks understanding, we have to understand that faith in terms of its being an active response to divine revelation. We pursue and respond to the one word God has to say to us, packed up for us in the two testaments of the Christian Bible. So what now? Simple. God brings us home and gives us everlasting light and life with His Son and Holy Spirit, and the billions of other celestial entities who make their home among the stars.